Salud, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Cordoba, Spain, and today we're going to talk about are the drinks that people and tourists enjoy when they come here to Spain. And I'm not going to start with the adult beverages. I'm actually going to start with the non-alcoholic beverages that everyone can enjoy. And yes, you can drink the water here in Spain. It's no big deal. Though, what you'll probably see people drinking more of is actually Coke Zero. Like, they really have an unhealthy affinity of Coke Zero. So just be aware of that when you go out to drink, okay? But you don't have to drink unhealthy drinks when you're here. I mean, they do have, you can drink the water, it's just fine. I do recommend when you're traveling around, especially in the summer, if like you're here in Cordoba, or Granada, Seville, Malaga, where it's really, really hot in the summertime, so it's important to stay hydrated. And you can drink the water here, no problem. Just get a water bottle and refill it up. But honestly, if you're looking for like non-alcoholic drinks that are very popular here in Spain, obviously coffee is number one. Like, you can have a coffee any time of day. If you want a café con leche, you want a small one, it doesn't matter. Coffee is good all the time. And your Spanish friends will want to have a coffee with you, maybe in the morning, maybe for lunch, maybe in the afternoon, maybe after dinner. That is a very popular thing here, so don't worry about that. Another drink, if you're not a coffee drinker like myself, what I drink is colacao. And colacao is chocolate milk, okay? So you can have it hot, you can have it cold, and believe me, they love their colacao here. You can get it already pre-made, you can buy it in the powder form. Your hotel probably have it in packets down, at the breakfast nook to like mix it on your own, but they love it. And don't you dare say like Nestle Quick or something else is better for chocolate milk, because colacao is the thing here.
Here's another thing that might upset your Spanish friends. If you say that colacao is not the best chocolate drink, like you say, oh, Nesquik is better. Yeah, no, that's not gonna go over it. You have to do the colacao. That is the chocolate drink here. Whether it's hot or cold, that's the only way they like to go. You say anything else, they're gonna be mad. So remember, this comes first, not this, all right? So help yourself keep your Spanish friends and drink colacao, okay?
Now, when you walk around Spain, you'll obviously see lots of oranges growing all over the place. So orange juice is also a really fantastic thing to get here. And what's cool is it's always, not always, but a lot of times you'll have freshly made orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice. You can go into some grocery stores, they'll actually have a machine there that'll actually cut them and press them for you and give you a glass or give you a bottle of it, so you can have that. But there's lots of really good fruit juices you can have here. And when it's really hot, maybe you want something a little bit colder, you can get a granatizado. And granatizado is basically a slush puppy from our friends in the US, or a slushy, basically that really thin ice, like really tiny ice pellet kind of things. And they put lemon juice and sugar in there, or put lemon juice, and sugar together and mix that together. You might have it strawberry. There's a lot of different flavors that are out there, but those are like, it's a way to keep cool in the hot summers when you are here. Now, I know I gave you the healthy, non-alcoholic things to have, but let's be honest, you're here for this. You want to know, Mark, what do we drink when we come to Spain? And I know if you read online, you think that everyone only drinks tinto de verano. It's not the case. If I went for alcoholic beverages that Spanish people drink that I see at the tapas bars, and I see people talking to their buddies, it goes beer number one, wine number two, then tinto de verano after that, okay? So I want to start with the beers. And beer here is very popular. You can get it in a lot of different flavors. You have artisan beers, you have macro brews like Majo and Cruz Campo you can get throughout the country. I recommend getting more of the smaller breweries because they tend to be a bit better, or one of the more national brands that I like is Alhambra. That's the one I go to when I can see it, because sometimes Cruz Campo can get a bit much after a while. But if you're one of those people that like to have, your shandy, your Radler, if you're in Germany, where it's the beer and, lemonade soda, they have what's called a Clara, which is like 2 parts beer, 1 part basically lemon Fanta. Lemon Fanta gets used a lot here, okay? So you have the beers you can have. Now, second thing I talked about is wine, and wine is vino when you're here. And vino, of course, you have vino tinto, which is red wine, vino blanco, which is, white wine. And then you can have lots of different versions of wine, because one thing that Spain has is lots of different regions, and all the regions have different wines that they love. Probably the most famous kind of wine that you've heard of as someone not from Spain is Rioja. And Rioja is a really I find it to be a really full-bodied, kind of a red wine is the way I like to have it. There's actually 4 different classifications of it, but Rioja is kind of like the go-to that you can get anywhere around the world when you look for Spanish wine. You can get that here as well, but honestly, region by region will depend what kind of wine you can get. So that means drink the local wine, and believe me, the waiters will tell you what the local wine is, and they'll recommend it for you, no problem. So like, for example, here in Cordoba, sherry is very popular, sweet wine, right? So you have Pedro Jimenez, which is popular here. If you go down to Seville, you've got Manzanilla, which is another sweet wine, kind of sherry wine you're looking at to have. And wherever you go around the country, you will have those different wines. And a lot of times what they'll do is actually mix the wine with other things to make it a drink, especially in the summertime when you have 40 degrees Celsius Celsius, over 100-degree Fahrenheit weather, you're just too hot to sometimes drink the wines. So what you might have is some kind of the mixed wines or things mixed with wine. And Sangria is probably the most popular one for tourists. And what that is, it's red wine and then either brandy or vermouth. There's vermouth in here right now. Some fruit chopped up in there, apples, oranges, and then some sparkling soda in there, mixed up. Some people throw some extra sugar in there too. If you're at a tourist joint and they have it with straws in it, I pretty much can guarantee you're gonna have a headache the next day, okay? So be aware of that. But that's a very refreshing kind of thing you wanna have. But the thing is, the locals, it's not that they don't drink it, it's just much more popular among us tourists when they come here. Locals, when they're looking for kind of a cooling off drink, that's that tinto de verano I was talking about before. And what that is that's red wine, and then they pour that lemon Fanta. You notice lemon Fanta pops up. They'll pour those together. That's super refreshing, especially on hot days, or if you're like here in the patios, and you're eating in the patios in one of those warm days, you want to have a tinto de verano to kind of cool off. Or maybe you don't want to have a lot of alcohol because since it's mixed with Fanta, it has very low alcohol content. So this is what the vino de naranja looks like. The orange wine, it's just normal wine. They just have the rinds in there that made it flavored up. They pour it from a bottle, just like normal wine too, so you have that. So it's very refreshing. I like it. I like this a lot. And when you go around the country, you'll notice they have different kind of mixed wine drinks. So if we go to Seville, you have Rebujito, which is the sherry, the sweet wine from there, and they mix that also with the lemon 7-Up, right? Maybe with some mint and have some ice in there too. That's popular. So this is the Rebujito. That's the, the sherry, the sweet wine, and then basically Sprite. It really hits different than tinto de verano, like completely different. Still refreshing, but I think you can knock down more tinto de verano than this. But if you're in Sevilla, you should have it. Or if you're here, in Cordoba, they have what's called a 50-50, or you can just order un 50, por favor. And what it is, it's half sherry, the local Pedro Jimenez, the sweet wine, then half normal vino, half normal wine. That could be really nice too, just to give you a different flavor. But honestly, this is where all of you that are watching that are from Spain, please put down your local wine and your local mixed wine drink because it really is different everywhere you go. I mean, I know for me, when you're in Barcelona, you want to have Cava. And Cava is sparkling wine, okay? And it's from the Catalonia region, and some is made in the Basque country as well. And you have Cava, if you have Cava outside of those regions, it's more of a kind of a dessert almost kind of wine. Whereas if you're in Barcelona, you'll go to Cava bars and have it with your meal, no problem. And what's cool, that Sangria we talked about earlier, yes, there's the most popular one is that red wine one, but you can also make it with white wine. You can make it with Cava. That's actually my favorite. Sangria de Cava. That's the way to go. It's super, super refreshing to have. But Cava's another drink you can have that's wonderful. Now, other drinks you might see is this one. You have what's called Vermut, or Vermut, which you'll see here. This is kind of like a more popular drink these days here in Spain. It's a fortified wine. It tastes very much like when you drink it, with your ice and your oranges in it. And that just makes it a little more like a refreshing kind of drink to have. And it's more like it feels more sophisticated on the palate. And as a fortified wine, it has a bit more kick than normal wine. So do be aware of it when you are having these. Now, another fortified wine, or I should say fortified sherry, is Jerez. And you get that in the Cadiz region. That's in the south of Sevilla going down to the coast. Cadiz, really nice town to go. Actually, oldest still inhabited city, continuing inhabited city in the western part of Europe. It's a cool place to go with beaches or history. Nice. And they have Jerez. They have the fortified sherry. What more can you ask for? So Vermouth and Jerez, those are fortified, so they do have a little bit more kick. If you're looking for something a little bit less kick, I guess I forgot to mention this in the wine mixers, you could have Calimacho, which was really popular back in the 90s and early 2000s. That was kind of the cool drink. Now it's Vermouth is the cool drink. And what Calimacho is just red wine mixed with Coke or any kind of cola you want. That's kind of a nice refreshing thing because it's one of those things. In the summer heat, it really does, the heat really takes away a lot of your flavor and a lot of your desire to drink something heavier. I mean, and you see that influences in the drink. Like when you have the Pedro Jimenez here, it's going to be really, really cold. The beers are really, really cold. Or you just get it as a caña. You get a small glass of beer here, not a big beer in Spain because why? The sun will heat it up and the beer won't be good. And they do like their beer here. They drink a ton of beer here. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit more fruity, you could get sidra, which is just cider. That's very popular in the Asturias region. You can have that. If you are going to be in Galicia during the cold part of the year, you could get quemada, which means like burned. And honestly, be careful you have it because you could get burned. Because I remember when I was up there in Santiago de Compostela and they were pouring it out, and literally the ladle, when they were pouring it into the cup, was on fire with a blue flame because they make with Orujo, which is like a local liquor, which is got some kick in it, let's say. But with that, they do like a mix of like lemon peels and coffee beans and cinnamon in there. I mean, it definitely tastes like winter. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, this is one of those things I have, and I'm like, yes, I feel like I'm ready for a cold Galician winter. Because I'll be honest, people, it does get cold in Spain in the winter, and this does help kind of warm you up. But do be careful, because when the flames are going, you know, it's fire and alcohol together. Do be careful. But I know most of you probably aren't going to come to Spain in the wintertime. You're going to be coming in the summertime. Another good kind of cool-off adult beverage is Agua de Valencia. Yes, it's from Valencia, but no, you can get it more places than Valencia. And what it is, it's gin, it's cava, it's vodka, it's your orange juice in there, sugar, and ice, okay? You put it in there, stir it up a bit. It's actually super refreshing. I was in Valencia a few years ago, and we were just knocking them back in the heat. We were just like, oh, this is just perfect to have when you're here. And speaking of Valencia, I think there's another drink I want to talk about, and that's horchata. Now, if you're from the US, you've probably had horchata at a Mexican restaurant, and that's, you know, basically rice milk with cinnamon. Well, they don't do that here. Here in Spain, they use what are called tiger nuts, or you might call it chufa milk. Basically, think it kind of tastes like almond milk with a little like hazelnut dribbled in there as well. And they mix it with sugar, and it makes this kind of like milky, kind of thicker kind of drink. I mean, if you've had horchata in Mexico or in the US, you'll understand, yeah, it's basically the same kind of thing. It just has a slightly different flavor, but it's just as refreshing. And the thing is, there's so many different liquors you can have and wines you can have throughout the country. I just want to kind of give you like a few of the more popular ones. And please, my Spanish friends, please put down in the comments below other drinks they should have, because I didn't even get into Risol or Ratafia. I mean, there's so many things out there you can have that really can put a little punch in the night. So do drink responsibly when you are here in Spain. The bebidas, those are drinks. People here don't tend to go a little crazy overboard like some other cultures do. That's why sometimes tourists from other countries that come to Spain get kind of looked down upon, because they enjoy these fantastic bebidas a little too much. Anyway, I guess I should teach you one more thing before you go, and that is salud. So when you want to say cheers, you say salud here, and salud means to your health. So salud, and have a great time here in Spain. Whether you're drinking adult beverages or not adult beverages, you'll have a great time. Bye from here in Cordoba.